In today's episode, I'm going to teach you a few simple things on how to edit a video. It's going to be really easy and really quick. Hello everybody, my name is Venkman427 and welcome to Venkman427's Guide to YouTube. And this is the episode where I'm going to be teaching you some simple tips and tricks on how... I done bumped the microphone, as I always do. But I'm going to be teaching you some tips and tricks on how to edit videos in a very simple way. I'm going to be teaching you a very simple way, or at least one of the things that basically I'm going to be teaching you the editing tricks and things like that that I tend to use the most, or I know the most about, or again, if I'm going to edit a video, it's usually going to be these kind of things that I'm going to use most often, just because it's the whole, they're kind of like the, whenever you think of basic editing or things like that, or just kind of generic good stuff to start off on, you might think of this, and it's cool stuff to learn when you're editing. So first things first, if you are using HitFilm Express, which is obviously not this, when you download it and everything like that, and you open it, it's probably going to bring you to a page that has a lot of videos on most of the half, and then over here it'll probably have like a little bar or something saying like you can buy these things. Don't worry about that, and about the videos. They're not advertisements or ways to try to like give you malware or anything. It's the videos that are over here. They are actual videos, and if you want to go click on them or things like that, they just give you tutorials on how to use HitFilm or add special effects sometimes to HitFilm Express. And then the things that it can ask you to buy are for like, sometimes you need to buy for like, I think it's like not even a couple bucks to basically buy some of the special effects or things like that you'll need to make some other of these things. So they're not important. What's going to be important is you're going to probably see a little box up in the top left corner, and it'll say new or like open project. It'll say new or open. You want to click on new, and then it'll bring you to a little thing kind of like this, except it'll be a little bit more options. And it'll say, basically set the resolution to 1920 by 1080p, 60 frames per second. And it should be good. Don't have to mess with the audio or anything else. And then you can hit start. So that's for the people who are using HitFilm Express. When you hit start, it'll open up to, again, very similar thing to what Premiere Pro looks like. And I'll just leave it at that. Basically, if you've gotten past that first part in HitFilm Express, everything else should be pretty much the same with HitFilm. And if not, then just leave it down in the comments below, and we can figure that out. Okay, but now getting into what we need to do. Whew. I'm out of breath. It's a big mouthful. So, if you're using Premiere Pro, obviously when you open it, you're going to get to this. So you're going to click on New Project. And you know what? Let's just name this yeah, there we go. I'm not the fastest typer, and as you can clearly see, I'm going to have to edit out some things that have my name on them. So, okay, first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on Browse. Now, it usually saves to the user, your name, again, in this case, it's usually documents for me, and then Adobe Premiere Pro, things like that. You don't have to save to there, and I recommend you don't, just because you have to do a lot of digging just to get to the files related to this or things like that. I usually like to go with my YouTube video file. As you can see, I'm just going to select it. There we go, it's selected. So now all the files related to this particular project, whether I save it or I need to go find it, again, I know that, hey, it's going to be in that folder. Just go into the folder, open it up. Okay, you don't have to worry about anything other than this. Don't have to worry about these or anything. They're not important unless you're, again, unless you are a, like, professional and their job is to edit videos, then if that's the case, why are you watching my tutorials? So yeah, so we're good for that. We're just gonna click OK, and it's going to open you up to this. Now, most of the time it's going to open you up to the editing tab. Now, I'm not going to click on the editing tab because for some reason my editing tab seems to be broken. what I would suggest you do is when you open it, and it again brings it to, unless you have the editing tab, if you have the editing tab, good for you. We can keep going with everything, and you're good. Don't have to do much else, again, unless we're doing other effects, and I can tell you what to do. But if you want to customize certain things, what I suggest you do is go up to here, press this little arrow. Now, I have my little saved file here, but what I would suggest you do is you go to all panels. Now, as you can see, my workspace that I have labeled here is just the edited version of the all panels one, and again, you can select things here like that, because it's basically all panels in, well, one thing, that's as it says. So if you want to do some more, again, if you want to edit what your layout looks like and how it can function, I'd suggest you go to the all panels, and then again, if you can go to, when that's done, you would go to Windows, Workspaces, and then you can save it, things like that. But again, I have mine, and again, not much is different besides some things up here changed a little bit, I think. And things like that here are smaller and stuff. And yeah. So, first thing we're going to do is, what do I have written down here? Adjust audio. Okay, first thing we're going to learn how to do is, well, adjust the audio. And, well, first thing we need to do is get our... Geez, my stuff is... There you go. My table's shaking a little bit. Okay, first thing we're going to need to do is we need to get the video and or audio, image, doesn't matter. We're going to need to get the files into the editing software. So you're just going to go over to here to the import media thing. You're going to right click, you're going to hit import. Now, look, it brought us to the YouTube video folder. That's the folder we selected. So, yay. So, what I'm going to do is, as you can clearly see, that's the video that I recorded for the intro. This is the video that's recording right now. At least I think so. It should be. But as you can clearly see, I've got some few things here. And look, there's also our project. So if I want to go open this again, instead of having to go click on here, wait for it to load up, and then do it, I can just be like, oh, I'm going to go into the file, double click on this, boom, and it's opening. So, okay. What I'm going to do is, could you stop shaking, please? There we go. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select this video, and this is the edit video. So this is the video that I have just specifically recorded for this. So it's going to import. Now, I'm going to go to this again, and I'm going to import my outro Real. I don't know why I named it Real. I think it was because I had to fix the other one again, because yeah, this is the newer one that I have. So now, I know what you're thinking, well, why didn't I just, click and drag? Well, see, it highlights that, and we don't want to bring this project into here because it just messes stuff up, and again, it's not meant to be in there. It's only, again, image, again, it's the kind of things you would edit, and we're not going to edit the project. Okay. So once you've done that, why is everything so shaky all of a sudden? Okay. Once you've done that, what we're going to do is, well, we're going to adjust the audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, now again, I have an outro, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the main video file, and I'm just going to select it, I'm going to double click it. I'm going to make sure it appears up in here. So this way I know it's properly selected and everything. I'll get to what these can do in a little bit. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to click and drag it into here. And I'm going to wait until the little fist thing has a plus symbol. Okay, and as you can see, boom, pops up here, and boom, pops down up here. Now, see how these ones are selected down here? We can just click that, because again, there's no 3 lines of audio, and we don't need that to function right now. It's not important. We just want these ones, because as you can see, there's the video, the first audio, the second audio, and that's it. So, let's say I click on it. This doesn't matter where I click, I'm just going to select it, it's always going to highlight all of them. That's because they are linked. And now if I was to click on them and then right click it and go to any of these adjustments, it's going to adjust the overall thing. So even if I want to adjust this specific part of the audio, it's going to adjust all of the audio. Now I know what you're saying, well, you can go over to here. This one's a little confusing. If I adjust the audio, say on the second track here, which is this one, it will raise the audio. but it's not going to actually raise the audio. It's not going to raise it. It's kind of hard to explain. If I was to right click and I'll go to this and then be adjust audio by or add a set volume to this, it would make it again louder or things like that. What this would do is, even if I raise this to say 6 decibels, see how it doesn't actually raise it to 6 decibels? You don't actually see it down here raising. It does adjust it, and it can make it louder, but it kind of raises it by a certain amount in a way. Basically, it can make it louder, but it doesn't make it louder in a way. It's confusing. You can use these, and there's other special ways you can do that, and they can be useful. I tend to kind of stay away from those, mostly because I know what audio I need, what level of audio I need to have my videos set to, and everything like that. Okay. I need to remember to breathe. I'm so excited because this is one of my favorite parts of making videos. So, okay. What we're going to do is, if we want to adjust the audio, we're going to select the video. We're going to right-click, which is going to bring up the options that I've shown multiple times, which I've shown a few times already, but now we know what we're going to do with them. So, we're going to go to this unlink part. So, again, it doesn't matter what we select, as long as we're actually selecting the video. So, again, we have to click it, so it highlights it. I'm going to right-click it. Doesn't matter where we right-click it, as long as we right-click it. And then we're just going to click unlink. Now, make sure that enabled part is highlighted, because that means it's not going to... It basically need to have it on so so video actually functions as a video kind of thing. So I'm just going to click on link. So now what that does is, if I select the video, I only select the video. If I select this track of audio, I'm only selecting that one. And same with this audio. So this way I'm not selecting the overall thing. So if I want to make particular adjustments to this audio track, but I don't want to touch this whatsoever, well, now if I go to adjust the audio for this one, I'm only adjusting the audio for this one, or things like that. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to click on it, or again, you can, in this case now, you can just right click, and we're going to go to audio gain. Now, I already know what I need to set it to. So we're going to set the gain, at least for me, this is the microphone audio. We're going to set the gain to 6 decibels. So I'm just typed in the number 6. Going to click OK. Now, as you can see, it raised up. So now, if I play the video, the video is now, well, my microphone audio is now at 6 decibels. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take the game audio. I'm going to go to audio gain again, and now I know what I need to set it to, and I'm going to hit -3. Now, I know what you can see. It says the peak amplitude is -4 decibels. That you don't need to worry about. It's not actually, it's the way that the normalizing the peaks works. It's a little confusing, and you could potentially mess up some of the audio. So again, don't have to worry about that. It says, basically, I'm going to set this to -3 decibels, so as you can see, it makes it quieter. What? But now if I select it again, it still says it's -4.1 decibels. Because that's like the original kind of one. It's a little confusing, but it's okay. Okay. So, now that we've adjusted the audio, things are louder but also quieter than before. Because the game audio, for me, when I'm playing the game, it's the right level. It's a good level for me, and I can adjust it again with my headset and everything like that, but it's always kind of loud, so that's why I set to -3, and then I make my microphone louder. Now, one thing I will always say, this doesn't matter what is happening, I always recommend having your microphone a little lower than kind of usual, so this way it's better to have a quieter video than normal and have people have to raise it just a little bit, then end up making a very loud video where the audio quality is very bad and people have to lower it a lot just so they can kind of understand what you might be saying, or it's not, making their ears bleed because it's so loud kind of thing. So it's better to have a quieter video that people can understand, and all they need to do is raise the audio, like when they're watching it, just raise their like headphones or things like that a little bit, but the audio is clear and things like that, and you can get details and things like that. So it's a better thing to do. So, sorry, there's some hair on my microphone. So now that we've adjusted the audio, Basically, for most of the time, when depending on how my video may go, unless it's usually this is how I make the videos. I unlink it. Basically, we're kind of halfway through almost actually more than halfway. I would just add the outro, adjust the audio for it a little bit, and then render it. Again, depending on how it goes, most of the time that's how the video may go. Sometimes I may have some kind of cuts and things like that in there to add, effect. Now, again, on the same idea of effect, I'm going to teach you how to use the eraser tool and how to use ripple delete and what they have in common. So, you know what? Let's say I don't want that little part in there where there's not a lot of audio. It's basically, it almost looks flat. So what I'm going to do is if I take my slider here, I can make it very short. So again, the bigger it is, the shorter, basically the less I have to move. So basically, things get shorter the longer this gets, and things get longer the shorter this one gets. So if you want to get more detail, and you can make this shorter so you can get into like the really fine kind of things. So I'm going to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my bar here. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to select the razor tool, which is down here. Or again, you can press C for all those people who want to get all fancy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go click, click, click. And now if we hadn't unlinked the video, then we could just click on one of these things and it would cut all of it down. But again, I recommend unlinking it first, just so you can adjust the audio and then go from there kind of thing. It just makes things easier. So I'm going to go, as you can clearly see, I'm just a little bit before the actual audio starts, and because again, that's just how I want it. So again, I'm going to click, click, click. Now, one cool thing again with Adobe Premiere or Premiere Pro, I'm just going to call it Premiere Pro, is it kind of auto locks a little bit. So as you can see, my razor, like where the line is for my razor, isn't actually perfectly on the cutting line, but it's still going to auto lock to, again, below there, so you can get that nice little straight line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my selection tool, and I'm just going to select that video, because you know what? I don't want that. But wait. In doing that, there's an empty space there. Well, let's say there's a lot more videos related. There's a lot more, again, video behind here. So the video, again, isn't actually that short. There's more, again, effects or things like that, audio changes, and then, there's gaps, things like that. What we don't want to, and you never want to do this, is you never want to do the click and drag select, and then you go over the entire kind of video, and then you can click and drag, because not only does that cause problems, but it takes up valuable amounts of time. So what you can do is, say you just want to move it back. So you just want to take, you literally just wanted that specific chunk out of the video, and you just want everything else to basically just squish back into there as if that part never existed, but you still want everything in the back here, or again with this, so there's like a image file or something like that, just to move back into place kind of thing. Well, what you can do is you can right click here, and it's going to bring up ripple delete. And boom, look at that. So if I did have, again, any other edited video files, it's going to snap back into place, and it's not going to, mess anything up, or, a file isn't going to be, moved somewhere over here or there, kind of thing like that. It's going to be all nice and dandy sour candy. So now if we watch it over again, you edit, it's gone. But now, let's say, oh, you know what? I want to actually, I've decided I want to, in that area that I cut something out, where I cut the thing out, I want to, put something else there. But again, you never do the whole click and drag select for the entire thing. What you can do is you can go right here and you can select this. Or again, use A, and it is the track select forward tool. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly forward, but it's mostly the select everything past this little cut line here, even, again, things on top or again edited. And what it does is if you click and drag, it moves all of that video file. And I know it is linked, but you know what? Oh no, wait, no, it is. It's unlinked. Oops. That was a mistake on my part. That's good. We want it to be unlinked. I said, oops, because I thought it was linked, but I didn't realize I did that. So you know what? Let's say, I don't know, I cut out like that little random chunk here, and you know, maybe that little video chunk there. Again, I'm gonna undo these little things here, but again, just to demonstrate, so that there can be gaps. So if I was to click and drag and move it, then if I was to do the click and drag, which again you should never do, then it could mess things up, and then I could end up having this video file be here, but I needed to have that space or something in between there, so it wouldn't work out properly. Well, what I can do is I can select this, and then boom. So now if I say do this, oh look, they're all selected, and if I click and, whoop, come on. There we go. If I click and drag, look, it even saved the little gaps or things like that. So now I can, you know, do what I need to do in here, and then, or, you know, move it out, and I don't have to worry about things again. Whoop. Don't know what I don't have to worry about things often, again, the distance, or again, with weird gaps like that. So I'm just going to undo all of that. So that's what that tool is good for. Now these ones, they're a little more confusing. They're more advanced, and most of the stuff that you can do with this tool, I'd suggest, again, I can explain later in the video, and it's better to, again, do it again. I'll just explain later. Oh yes, also Premiere Pro has autosave, which is great. I love it. So what we've done now is, now that we've adjusted this and I've showed you what, again, ripple delete can do, and I've showed you the adjustments, things like that, now we're going to go on to, let me check right there, we're going to go to how to adjust the frame. So this right now is the frame. So if I go to video here, using to edit, this is the frame. So if I was to say, well, again, we're going to adjust it. So I'm a little kind of iffy on my explanations, but let's take the razor tool, and you know what? Say I want to zoom in really close on my character's face for, for a good second, but it's not, again, you can see here that I was using the Optifine zoom, but I'm not in the game, so I'm not going to have the Optifine zoom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, only on the video, because I don't need to worry about the audio, I'm going to try to find that. There it is. There we go. So basically, this little section right here, come on, edit, it's been cut out. So what I can do now is, if I'm going to go over it, because again, I want to see the frame and everything like that, what you're going to do is you're going to select the program, not the reference, but the program, because that is how you can make sure you can, again, properly do the stuff. If you select the reference, well, again, it's a reference. It doesn't give you full explanation or capabilities to control it. It's a reference. It's kind of the whole, like, it's not showing you the full thing that's happened to the video. It's kind of, it's a mild, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge to it kind of thing. So what you're going to do is, so again, we want to zoom. Why does my monitor keep shaking? So bizarre. Okay, okay. I'm still recording. Good. So let's do it. So what we're going to do is, again, we want to program, we want to select that thing, and I suggest having this over top of it so you can properly, again, see what's happening. We're going to go to this. So it's the zoom level. Now, it's not the actual zoom of it. So if I was to go to this, it's going to do it for all of the video. And again, when I stop the video, it immediately goes to the reference, because again, it's showing the video kind of unedited and that thing. So what this does, the reason why we have this is so this way we can basically have these adjustments and allow us to basically give us more space to pull and things like that. So as you can see, we're again program things like that. And what I've done is let me unselect it. I've double clicked this. So now this blue stuff highlights. So what I can do here is I can just yank it really far. And then look. So it's zoomed in on my character's face. So now if I go back to fit, look at that. Now I know the resolution's low, but that's because, well, we've zoomed in on the pixels. We're not actually taking like a we're not taking like a pair of binoculars, or again adjusting, like literally physically zooming in. It's like we're getting we basically made the image bigger, which made it close up kind of thing, so it gives it an illusion kind of thing like that. So now if you look at just that specific one here, for just that little second, it's really close in my face. And again, now if we want to go over to that video again, we can go out to 10% or 25%. Don't do 50% because it just zooms your camera in more. Again, I always suggest going with 10%. What we can do is we can zoom it out, and you know what? I'm going to say I want to twist it a little bit and then zoom it back in. So now, again, boom, it's like that. So that's how you know when you're watching like a video, and it's, again, I'm going to bring up memes into this just because that's where I tend to see them lots, or again, kind of funny things. It's the whole, there's an awkward moment, or you want to really see like that person's expression. The person who's operating the camera, if there is someone operating the camera, they're not going to be like, I'm going to specifically zoom in on, because again, most cases this happens because it's the person, can't zoom in, and that's not like the person who's recording or things like that, the person's face or something like that. It knows it's going to happen, so something it makes it a little funnier sometimes, or it exaggerates something, things like that. It's just really funny. It's really cool, really funny sometimes, again, depending on what it is. So that is that. Now we're going to go on to something a little more simpler, adding text. Now, as you can see, there's a type tool down here, or again, you can press T. So I've pressed T. So now what I can do is, just like that again. Come on, man. There we go. Okay, I forgot. You need to select the track and then everything else. So now, as you can see here, I'm just going to make this really big. And then I'm going to write something. I'm going to write, I don't know, derp. But wait. Okay, I wrote it in capitals, which is what I wanted, but I want the font to be bigger, I want it to be a different color, and I want it to be a different type of font. Well, my friends, we can worry about this little part later. That's very easy to fix. But, well, my friends, where we can fix things like this is the graphics tab. So you're just going to click on that, and it brings you to this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to click on the edit part, because we've selected the text, and we want to edit the text. And now I welcome you to a world of wonder. This kind of stuff we don't need to worry about. This is more fancy, and again, adjustments, things like that. But I just want to change the color, what the font type is, and I want to change its size. So first I'm going to go with the font type. Now, as you can see, it's Minion Pro. I don't want that. I want OCRASTD, because that is my favorite font, because that is the font that I use in my video thumbnails, and it's the main font. If you look on my channel banner art, that's the same font. So now, as you can see, we've selected it. But what we need to do first is, well, why isn't the text changing? Well, we need to select it. So you're going to, again, click and drag. Boom. There we go. Now it's changed. Going to keep it highlighted, because again, that's what we want to affect. And you know what? I want to change the color. I'm going to make it a nice bright red. Boom. There you go. Nice bright red. You know what? Now, I'm going to add a stroke. Now, what does that mean? Now, if you look closely at the text, you can kind of see that it gets a little bulgier when I have this selected. basically, the bigger I make this, it's kind of like, it's almost like an outline in a way. So you know what? I'm going to have that outline. I'm going to make it a really nice blue. So there we go. It's basically, again, it's an outline. Again, I can change the thickness of it, but you know what? I'm going to have it a little bit like that. And then I can add a shadow. So I can adjust the position of the shadow, how far away it is. You know what? I'm going to have it here. And how faded it is. You know what? We're going to have it a little faded. Gonna make it a little bit more like that. There we go. And I know there's a way you can make it bigger. No, I don't think you can make it bigger. Okay. So, that's done. But we want to make our text bigger. We want to make the text a lot bigger. Well, this little slider over here, and again, there's usually there's different styles of fonts, but again, this specific one is just, that's the font, that's it. What we can do here is we can change the slider, or again, you can punch in a number specifically, but I'm going to use the slider just for convenience. And look at that, the text is magically bigger. And you know what, I'm going to adjust things just a little bit more, just because I really want to. Yeah. There we go. I like the size of that. So I'm going to click on that. So there you go. It's unselected. And again, let's say there's some text that's, I've written down some text and it's that big, but it's kind of off screen. So what I can do is I can, again, adjust the box size here. Not with the selective tool, because that's the typing tool. You want to select it. So that's why we can adjust the size of the box. So now what I can do is I can just make this a little smaller just so it's a little easier to manage. And if I have other stuff on screen, I don't have to worry about it. But see, if I make it small, then it makes these things disappear. So I want to have it big enough to not do that. And now this little thing over here, this is the pivot point, or the anchor point as it's called. I'm just going to set that to the middle, because that means, so if I want to rotate this, it's going to rotate on that point. If I have it over here, it's going to rotate on that point. So I'm going to put that kind of close to the center. You know what, I'm going to move this kind of around here. And you know what, maybe I'm going to put it on a little bit of an angle. Okay. So we're going to go back to my custom workspace. So now, watch what happens. So I can watch from here. In test video. The audio was a tad glitchy. But that is okay. That's just, again, because it's loading things. Okay. I hope that's a little period at the end, because I'm kind of... Wait, hold on. Okay, good. I thought it was something on my screen. But I was like, no, it's just a pixels. Okay, good. Don't know why that's there. I think that's because it was a period, but that's not important. So now, as you can see, basically, the entire timeline, the amount that this is, again, in length, it's going to be on screen. So, you know what? Let's shorten it to about here, maybe. And you know what? Let's put it right there. So, as you can see, there's, so clearly see there's a little line there. So, you know, it's called a little lock thing. So now, it's not here in the video, but it's only going to be here. You know what? I actually want to make this a little longer. There we go. So that's how we can add text and, again, change it, things like that. Boom. But let's say I want to have that text move across the screen. Well, my fellow friends, that is where we go to the Effects tab. Give it a second to load. And as you can see, boom, since we've got the text selected, text selected, again, we can, you know, do a lot of the stuff here, so, you know, change the size of the text, you know, show it if we want to. But then there's position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the position with these sliders here. And I'm going to have it a little bit off screen. There we go. I can still see the box here, which is what I want. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of the, again, the image file. So now, if... There we go. I go to the time mapping part. This should be how it works. If I select that, that makes a... Wait, what? Hold on. Okay. I figured out the problem. What you need to do is, let's just close this and I'll show you how I figured it out. We don't need to worry about this. This right here, this is not important because again, this is affecting the video itself, not the... Well, it was affecting the text, but not in the way that we wanted to. We need to actually go to the text section here. And then what we can go do is we scroll down, and then we need to click on... We need to select this little clock here for the position part. So this can allow us to have anchor points, or keyframe, sorry. So what we can do is we're going to select the keyframe. So that's where the text is going to be. So right here, down here, when it gets to this little part, the text is going to be down here. But you know what? Let's say I want to move this little part up here through the video. You know what? I want to have it kind of set right around the end. I'm going to move the text around, and I'm going to have it move to here. And I'm just going to move this entire box right up here, and I'm going to select that. So now, basically what it's done is it's created the, it's made keyframes. So now basically if I go through the video, as you can see, it moved the text along that line. So let's go watch it from the beginning. In test video, why is it disappearing? Oh. I figured it out. Okay, so turns out, okay, I was right the first little time. See how what we were adjusting here? We were adjusting basically the visibility of the frame. So basically, we're affecting what and where it could be seen kind of thing. So again, the video would still play, and if we watched it, but as you could see, it'd be the whole, there's only this little section down here where the video, the text could be shown. So again, unless you want to have those kind of little effects where, it slides in under, like it slides in, pops out, and then, suddenly, comes back from the dead or something like that. Kind of like that, I don't know. Then you can do with that. That's for a later thing. Again, we want to go down, we only want to, again, affect the text. So now, let's watch it from here. In test video. So we just had it go across the screen. Very good, yes. So let's try to select the text here. And you know what? Let's have it go right off screen here, and then in test video. There we go. So as you can see, it went across that line, and it in test video. It went across the screen like we had planned. And again, if we affected these kind of things here, we could affect, and we can also affect the speed. So if we want to go really slowly, yeah, you know what? Let's make it go really slowly. Let's drop it. Yeah, you know what? Where did my mouse go? Oh, there it is. And now it's not there. What is happening? What in the sweet heck? Hold on. Okay. I'll figure out the problem. It's just Premiere Pro kind of had a little hiccup. So, if you go from here again, in test video. Sorry, it's a little laggy. It's just had a little bit of a hiccup. In the test video, going to explain how. There we go. So let's try to find where the text kind of leaves, and then you know what? Let's cut it right there. So now, if I'm not mistaken, there we go. We cut out that little end bit because again, we basically had extra kind of space there. So if we in test video, there we go. So the text just went across the screen. Very simple, very nice. Again, that's what we're gonna do. But you know what? Let's get to something kind of more spooky. You know, so you know, don't you know? Let's make the video fade. So it's a fade to black as well as the audio fades. So it's technically an effect. Well, because it is an effect. Where do we go for that, children? To the effects tab. Very good. Very good. There we go. So let's click on the effects tab. And you know what? Let's select the video first. So what I'm going to do is, you know what? I just want a specific part of the video to fade. And just to make it easier. Now, again, it's not going to affect it. I could, again, have keyframes at a particular part and then just have it, again, fade out, and it would kind of, it basically, I don't have to worry about cutting or anything. But again, just to make it easier and for me to basically sort things up a little bit, I'm going to take a specific part of the video and all the audio so I can have them fade. So again, I could again select it and then go to, you know, this specific part of, again, video, things like that, and then kind of have it start to fade. But again, you know what? I just wanted to do it that way. Just because, for me, makes it a lot easier. So again, we're not affecting the position of where this video might be. We're not affecting the speed. We're not affecting the speed. But we are going to be affecting the opacity. Now, I know what you're thinking. That doesn't have to do anything with the way this works. But what you're going to have to note about this is the main video file right here. So it's on the bottom, and then obviously, you know, there's black in the background. So say this text over here faded. Well, it's going to fade. It's going to lose its opacity over a certain point in time. And then it's only going to show this stuff in the background. So if I have this video fade, but there's nothing in the background, it's just blackness, it's going to, again, it's losing its opacity, it's going to fade to black. And again, with audio, when the volume just changes. So again, we're gonna go to opacity. And you know what? I'm gonna have it just a little bit more forward. And I'm gonna, again, select the keyframes. Right now, the opacity is gonna be at 100. Boom. And you know what? Maybe over here. Gonna add another one. And over here. Gonna add another one. And over here. Gonna add one last one. Now, I'm going to click on this little tab again. See this little thing. It's basically right next to the clock. The little arrow. And what this brings up is basically another way of adjustment. So this way what I can do is I can click and drag these down to basically adjust the specific part, the way it kind of adjusts, so it can be more kind of fluid. So this way, you know what, I want it to be like that, and then you know what, I want to be like that. So this way, look at the way it fades. Beautiful. So again, instead of, you know, having to go to each keyframe without this, and then again set, you know, this one sets to, you know, 50%, then this one sets to, you know, 25, and then this one sets to 0 kind of thing, and it's very jittery fade, you can make it very smooth and have nice adjustments. So again, obviously, if this is the last fade, then obviously you want to have it down at the very bottom. Now watch it. Now if you watch this, see how it's very quick. So the reason why I want to have multiple anchor points is so I could get a smoother decline of the way that it fades. So again, I'm not going to have it perfect. I want it to be, I'm okay. I'm okay with it having, you know, a little bit of kind of being a little taller here than it is here, and it's not a perfect straight line down. But this way, it can be a nice smooth fade instead of a really bloop, quick drop off. There we go. It's beautiful. Now, I know there's not a lot of audio here, so if I watch it, I know, again, there's not a lot of audio, but we still kind of want to fade because you could still kind of hear a little bit of me like breathing in the background. You know, you could hear like keys and things like that. So you still want to have it fade a little bit. And again, if you're having music or something in the background, then that's what you want to do. So now, again, there's nothing happening in the game, so I can just delete the game file, and this is going to make the video go a lot quicker, a lot easier. So again, while we're still in the effects tab, I'm going to select the audio now. And what do you know? There's one called level, and we want to have it again selected. The bypass thing, don't need to worry about that. We want to have the little level clock here selected in blue. And then again, what we're going to do, we're going to select the little arrow, and it brings it down. And again, we got the keyframe thing here, so you know what? I'm going to bring it a little bit forward like that. Boom. And then you know what? Kind of gets a little darker around here. Boom. I'm not going to have it exactly the same way that the video works, just because, I mean, it doesn't have to be the exact same, but again, now that we brought this little part down, what can we do now? Boom, look, we can properly adjust it in the little fine, minute ways. So now if we watch over this, boom, done. But you know what? Again, in there's not much that's happening, so it's hard to tell. So you know what? I'm going to import some audio. Where did I put it? Oh, right in here. And you know what? Let's select some of my outro music, just because it's something everybody knows. So what I'm going to do is say, okay, this is where things kind of get a little fancy. Say I only want a specific chunk of music with this, and I'm gonna have to show this to you. I'm also gonna have to lower the volume on this one because it's pretty freaking loud on its own. That was very bad. I'm sorry to anyone who's like, that was box. I'm sorry. Karma, it's so loud. Okay. Say I only want a specific part of the audio. Well, there's things called ins and outs. You can select them here, but for all the fancy people who want to have shortcuts, you can use I and O. So basically, if I select an in here by pressing I, and then you know what, say I only want, I know, go up to that line here, I press O. When I click and drag this audio, edited audio here, it's only going to bring out the things in this little area right here. Not this stuff, not that stuff, just this. So now when I bring it into here, boom. Okay, now obviously it is a little bit longer, but that's because it's not actually as long as we think it is. If we make the bar bigger, again, it's still quite long, but again, the video is quite short. So, well, what can we do? We can use the razor tool. Boom. It's not, boom, it's gone. And if we want more and we want to bring some of that audio back, boom, just brought it back. Again, we just used the selection tool and we clicked and dragged out. There we go, it's easy. So now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually get rid of that audio. And I'm going to keep this one here, actually. Just because, you know what, it's what I feel like. Again, I could put it in another track, but again, this is a very basic video. We don't have to do all this fancy stuff. So, we're still in the FX tab. What are we going to still do? We're going to affect the level. So, boom. 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 And we're going to have it go down to, again, complete mute. And you know what? It's already pretty loud to start off with. So we're going to kind of have it a little bit lower. So now, there we go. See, it faded. So now, if we watch this, yeah. Again, obviously the music is kind of pointless with the way it's working, but you can pick up what I'm putting down. It's very basic. Ah, jeez. There you go. So now it fades. The music fades with the video. Again, not the exact perfect fade, but it's a fade nonetheless, and it's really nice and smooth. So if we watch it from, let's watch the video from here, because this is where the fancier editing stuff happens. To edit in test video, I should actually be going to my nice red tab, so this is a lot bigger. So you know what? Let's do this. Let's watch it again. Using to edit. It's a little laggy. It's okay. Edit in test video. Going to explain how everything works. Yeah, yeah. There we go. So very easy, very simple. Done. And then you know what? Just as kind of a last little giggly end thing, let's take, I don't know, this frame right here. So say I want to take basically almost like a screenshot, as some people would call it. And I want to have it again, like be a photo, so I can have it. I'm gonna put it at the end here and have it as like a little goofier thing. Well, what I can do is I can hit the export frame. I'm gonna save it as a JPEG, and I'm gonna hit. You know what? Derp. Just gonna name it as derp. It's gonna be JPEG. Gonna do the same thing. Import it to the video. Boom. Done. There we go. So now if I click and drag it into here, boom. It fades. But look, the video's still playing. It's still going over the derp. And then obviously it cuts to black because there's nothing else to do. So you know what I feel like doing? I'm going to take this video, I'm going to click and drag it up. But what I can do here is, so remember how I talked about the way it fades? So since the video is not displaying anything or making any noise or anything like that, because it doesn't have to. There's nothing there to be displayed. There's nothing here right now. But remember how I talked about the way the opacity works? So yeah. Again, that's how the fading works. So this was the video that we had the fancy fade stuff on, but again, since this is the file beneath it, it's going to fade to that. And again, if we got rid of this file beneath here, just fade to black again, like it normally was. So yeah. So, I guess this is a little fancy, not fancy, I guess a little simple way I could teach you how to edit. So now, okay, so we want to export this. And I know I brought this outro into here, and I know it's kind of not that important. I just brought it in here just because, again, so force habit, things like that. And yeah, so let's say we're finished editing our little video here. What we're going to do is we're going to save it first. So we're just going to, we don't need to save as, we just want to save it first just to make it good. But what we're going to do is, you see what it says export. You don't want to export it from here. And the reason why we want to save is because what we want to do now is we want to close this. And want to go to Adobe Media Encoder, because not only is Adobe Media Encoder faster, because this is literally its entire point, to render these videos or encode them, wink, wink, wink. And this is where you can select the presets on how you want to output them. So, okay, this stuff over here, don't worry about it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this little plus thing, and we're going to add the source. So you know what? This is the file that we just saved. So it's the edited video. Boom. So there we go. It is in here. And now, as you can see, I have it set to a preset named the best preset, because it is the best preset. And this is what I'm going to go through on how to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this. And it's going to load. It takes a second. It's very finicky. There we go. Okay, so these are the settings you want to have for your video. So we're gonna go, I'm just gonna click on the video tab just because it's gonna publish. So you want to have your format to H.264, not blue, not the fancy Blu-ray one, just regular H.264, because that's a MP4 encoder. And again, MP4s aren't the greatest file, but when it's the last file type that's being uploaded to YouTube, and with these settings, it's going to be pretty good. Again, not perfect, but it's going to be better. So, again, you can obviously name it and things like that. So, in this case, it's going to be called Edited Video MP4. I can add comments and things like that. I've saved this preset. But what we obviously want to do is we want to have export video and audio selected. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the video tab. And now, obviously, we're going to the width and height. You know, it's my monitor is 1920 by 1080p. So we want to have that. Now, we don't want to select these the way that they are, because what that'll do, and if we click match source, then it just auto selects all of these little things. The reason why I don't want to click them is because, again, say there's a point in time in the edited video where I don't know, even if it is for just a split frame, the quality kind of drops. It's kind of hard to explain, but if we have those selected, it's going to match to the source. So what that means is it's not gonna end up being it's not gonna be very high quality. We basically want to have these things set to a higher quality as to, well, you know, make them a higher quality instead of having them a match source. So again, if we have them set to match source, it's gonna the video may render quickly, but it's gonna be a very bad rendered video, and it's not gonna look good. So don't touch that or any of these little clicked things. So obviously you want to hit the width that the video was recorded in. Again, it's going to be 1920 by 1080p. It's just going to do that. Now, the frame rate. I recorded that video at 60 frames per second. Again, if you record a video at 30 frames per second, like if it's kind of like a sketch or something, set it to the video frame rate of the actual video. That, again, we're just editing that, because if not, it's going to cause problems. Want to have it. So again, frame rate, I said -60. Now, the aspect. Want to have it set to square pixels 1 for the best. Want to have it set to NTSC. It's very good. Want to have the profile set to high. Not high 10, just high. And then the level. This level, I don't know why it does this. I think it just automatically selects that. So just going to leave it like that. Don't really touch that one. You can click on, you're going to select render at maximum depth. So this makes, well, basically it's the whole like, okay, so sure, we've gotten all these presets here, but this is going to be like, we're going to render at the maximum we can, you know, it's going to make it the best that we can, kind of thing. Now we go into the bitrate settings. You know what, I'm actually going to make this a little bigger just so you guys can see it. When we go into the bitrate settings, what you always want to do is you want to have it set to VBR pass 2, because what this does is when it's rendering, and you're in Adobe Media Encoder and it's showing this render, when it gets to halfway, what it's going to do is it's going to go over the video again with the exact same settings, and it's basically, it's like a double check. It's making sure, so you know what, if there was, you know, a point in time where, you know, oh, I missed a little thing where, you know, it wasn't the highest quality, I'm going to go back and fix that. I'm going to boom, boom, it's going to go over. It's like a double check, and it'll make sure it's the highest quality. So it takes a while. It takes, well, again, it takes, you know, twice as long to do, but it's worth it. And it just makes everything so much better. Now. This is extremely important. For anyone who has ever watched a YouTube video, or not specifically YouTube, just a video in general, and say you see the camera move very quickly, and then all of a sudden the things that kind of moved very quickly suddenly became really pixelated really quickly, so they didn't have a lot of depth, and then like slowly as the camera became still, they became more into like, again, like a higher quality, like went back to the quality, so they weren't as pixelated. Basically, that is dependent on the bit rate. So the higher the bit rate, the more it fixes these things. So again, if you have a very low bit rate, if you were to have something that moves quite quickly or moves often, the rendering software, if you have a higher bit rate and the things are moving quickly, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I know I need to, you know, fix the pixels around here, and, you know, make sure it doesn't, you know, look like a dog pooped on the video, kind of thing like that. But the lower the bitrate is, the more, again, that thing can happen. So again, things that are staying still, they're going to be, again, high. They're going to be, the quality's not going to affect them because they're staying still. So they don't need to worry about moving. If they're not staying still, and you know they're moving kind of it, things are going to be a little weird. So now everyone always says you know what, you should always set your bitrate to 12 because then it doesn't really affect it much. Don't do that. Set it to about halfway that it can go, about halfway, and then a little bit before the end kind of thing. Basically for me, I set mine to 30, and then that's the target bitrate, and then the maximum bitrate is 50. Because again, it doesn't need to go any higher. It's 20 bitrates worth of space in there, so it's pretty good. So again, the higher the bitrate, the more it can fix these problems. But again, don't set the target bitrate to like maximum. So don't set these to maximum, because what's going to end up happening is if you do, then there's basically no wiggle room for it. So in case there is something where it needs more bitrate on your specific frame or part of the video, where it needs to be like, oh, to make it again proper high quality and not make it look like it suddenly got all pixelated, we need to use more stuff and more power here to fix that. Well, it's not gonna be like, well, we don't have wiggle room to do it, so we can't. So it's just good to do that. Now the keyframe. Don't worry about the keyframe. Do not touch the keyframe. And since I touched the keyframe, it went to a custom setting, and we don't want that. We need to just leave it alone. Okay. And then when you scroll down to the final thing, you also want to use maximum render quality. It's beautiful. Don't touch anything else in that tab. And obviously effects, things like that. Again, that's you don't need to worry about that, because again, that's adding effects that you could add in this, but again, just leave it alone. Okay, audio. When you get to the audio, you want to have it set to ACC or AAC. Sorry, not MPEG, and a motorcycle just turned on outside. So again, have it set to that, and don't have it set to version 1 or version 2. Then just the regular one, and then the hertz of your video. So in this case, mine's 48 hertz or 48,000 hertz. Good. Then obviously stereo, audio quality high, the bitrate 320, which is again maximum, and don't do it on sample rate. Have it set to bitrate. There we go. Multiplexer, have it set to MP4. Standard. Don't need to worry about captions. And yeah. Now, the one thing I really, 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 really love about this is the fact that you can upload videos straight from Adobe Media Encoder, and also the videos are a lot better quality, because when it uploads them, and it's uploading them, instead of you having to bring them to the site and then you upload them from there, and the quality gets a little bit lower. With this, since it's uploading it straight from there right after it's been rendered, you don't gotta worry about that weird quality stuff. So it's just a lot better, at least from what I've noticed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you how this would work. So again, in this case, we're uploading to YouTube, so I'm just going to click that. Now it says it's logged in, but for me, it's actually not logged in, because if I select the playlists here, there's no playlists. So I'm just going to log back in and log out, and then log back in quickly, just refresh it. And I suggest you do that too if you've done this multiple times, if you're going to do this multiple times. So every time you do go to publish it from this, I suggest you log out and then log back in. So I'll be back with you guys in a second. Okay, good. So I've logged back in and everything. So now look, oh, the playlists, they're being selected. Now again, I don't need a playlist for this or anything like that. You know what, let's just name this used this video to demonstrate. That's probably not how you spell demonstrate. Basic. Yeah, that's a Y. So there we go. And you know what? Let's just add a description. Again, I have my default description text, but again, don't really need to do that. Will come out soon. And you know what? Let's add some exclamation points. There we go. So now it's set to unlisted. So that means no one can see it unless they have a link. But you know what? I'm going to make it public. Oops. So again, you just click it, select public. Boom. There we go. Done. Now you can add tags. So again, if say it's the whole... this increases your chance of you being coming up in search things. So again, say, I typed in Minecraft. So now if Google's searching up Minecraft and this video becomes... if you're searching up videos and this my video becomes very popular, then... you do the thing, the stuff happens, come up like that. And okay, so again, I don't need to do that. Yeah. Again, you can add custom thumbnails. That's going to be in the next episode. And then what I suggest you do is select this. So basically, unless you do want to keep this video, what I usually have is I have the video be deleted once it's been uploaded. And again, just because it's going to delete the video that you edited, not the actual file. So if you want to go back into the file, like the Premiere, like go into Premiere Pro and have the editing, you just can render it again, things like that. But that's just for me. So yeah, just gonna again make sure I got all that. Gonna hit OK. Boom, there you go. Now again, it does say custom, but that's because I selected the publishing thing. So it's good. So now you just click on this little play button and give it a little bit. Come on, I need to demonstrate to the people how this works. There we go. So yep, now as you can see, it's really rendering quite quickly. And again, since I've got a lot of RAM, even if I'm recording, it's still going to go pretty quickly. But yeah, so when it's uploaded, you guys will see it. So either way, if you guys did enjoy this episode, be sure that like button. If you want to see more of my content, remember to subscribe and leave a comment down below, as it is appreciated. Either way, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!